again, I don't live in 3 states. In fact, the states I'm about to list, I don't live in any of them. So, but I'm going to give these are U.S. senators. These are not state senators, but I'm going to give them major kudos. And the first one, when I mention it, I want you to know that he carried this bill. So, state of Louisiana, your U.S. senator is Bill Cassidy. Bill Cassidy pushed a bill through that majorly helps the cause I'm fighting for, and he's putting it on a federal level. This happened yesterday. No, it's been happening behind the scenes, but I want you guys to understand when you say anybody that says to me, now I got proof, and it's not from this, it's from before. I mean, I've had proof, but I love the fact that more proof and more proof keeps coming in, because for a long time I was beating a dead horse, trying to say, hey man, we need to solidify that we're independent contractors. We need to do, I needed some proof and meat behind that to show you guys, no, this is real, man. So what did we do? We got Colorado to change the law. And by that I mean we were this close to a session ending where the original bill Stephanie V. Hill from the House in Colorado had pushed through had food delivery and rideshare in one bill. They didn't like that. And we actually came to understand that. We did the town hall here. Senator Kevin Priola from Colorado showed up. Senator Kevin Priola was opposed to Stephanie's bill. He came and listened to all of this. Since we've had many conversations, he actually switched his view because they were this ready. They were like, Stephanie's bill on transparency, that's not even worth looking at. Kick it down the road. They were this close to signing us into Prop 22. We begged, pleaded, we showed him in masses what we did not want. Many times was mentioned of, well, the people we've heard from want to be employees and unions. Okay, well, every one of these gigapps that has started up that allows us to do this work with flexibility, all originated their business plan on, if it ever comes to W-2, we close shop. Think of the churn rate on drivers. Some drivers, there was an article or a study done about Doordash that over 20% of drivers that do Doordash do less than 2 hours before they stop doing it and never do it again. So that means that about 20% of the drivers who onboard to Doordash turn it on and I'm like, I'm going to give this a try. Try it for 2 hours and they're like, I'm done. Never doing this again. I was writing to the state lawmakers and especially a couple aides in Louisiana who on the state level I was saying what we had accomplished here in Colorado because they were going for a Prop 22. There were people from Louisiana in there and a couple of aides, and they've been communicating with me. No, we're getting somewhere. But we were dealing with them thinking, okay, but it looked like they were liking Prop 22. Every stupid state likes this Prop 22 on first pitch because it's the only one on their desk. You got to remember they have 600 issues, each lawmaker or senator, state or U.S., to solve in a day. And they're handed by their aides that morning. Here's everything you got to deal with on the floor today. So they're literally like many of us were in high school, cheating or reading before like 5 minutes before the test. Holy shit. Okay, I know where I stand on this. And they get reports from their aides like, okay, we had 15 people write in, they want to be employees. How many wrote in that didn't want to be? None. Okay, but the problem is that we showed here in Colorado was that take whatever number you have, multiply it by 1,000, and that's how many people, minimal, just didn't write in but want the opposite. U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy was actually handed some files that we were working on with the state legislators. If you think that you can't make a difference, again, I shouldn't say it too harshly because I used to believe that. I used to think, how much does my voice actually matter? I actually believed that for a long time. I still voted. I still did things. But it took me a long time, and it took me moving and hanging out with other people who showed me, well, don't always think that that person on the national level who you elected is going to help you out. You need to get in with the state level stuff or your local. And I started realizing this is actually really true. This is where things are done. And they kick it up sometimes. But U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy, U.S. Senator from Louisiana, headed this. And he used part of our information. How awesome is that? U.S. Senator Tim Scott is on board from South Carolina. U.S. Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky. They were all on board of this. So this is not a political affiliation claim at all. I am just letting you know, to the people we reached out to, who reached back and said, hey, wait, what are you talking about? We want to understand this. And I'm going to play a little video here because it actually made mainstream media yesterday. And it's important that I come back at the end and tell you guys what this means, because, I mean, some of you will pick up on it, but I don't want you, that's why I mentioned Prop 22 first. So let's just watch this. It's a minute and a half or something.
Republican senators are introducing a set of bills that would let companies like Uber, Lyft, and Doordash offer their gig workers benefits without reclassifying them as employees. That means the roughly 27 million Americans who work as independent contractors like Uber drivers would be eligible for sick leave, health insurance, and retirement plans. But under these bills, they would still be considered independent contractors even while receiving these benefits. Senate Help Committee Chair Bill Cassidy introduced the legislation alongside Senators Rand Paul and Tim Scott. He says gig workers and companies are governed by century-old laws and argues the U.S. needs new laws for the new economy.
Right now, there is a legal perception that if the company contracting with the worker gives them benefits like a 401k, that it is a traditional employer-employee. We give a safe harbor for that business and effectively a safe harbor for the allowing them to keep their freedom.
So what you guys need to take away from that, if you're already thinking, well, wait a minute, that sounds a bit like Prop 22. Well, doesn't it? The thing that didn't happen in there is they didn't say 120% of BS active time pay. They're just saying, what I've been telling you, we need to solidify the independent contractor part first so that we can take the fight head on. And we've been doing this state by state. It's been a headache nightmare, and we'll continue to do it. I mean, Kim Cavan, Karen Anderson, I got to always shout these people out. Mike Karubi, John Lopez, Leah Palagashvili. And if you guys have never heard me say that before, because it's hard to say, she is an economist at Mercatus Center. And then State Representative Harry Benton of Illinois' 97th district. All these people have gotten super involved, and they have helped us so much. And I just want to give these shout outs because we were getting information to them that they needed to understand that before we can get to what do you guys really need? They were so confused by all of this because, as I said a long time ago, we never had a hybrid definition for being a traditional gig worker. I spoke earlier about working for laser company, doing lighting, that kind of stuff. That's independent contractorship that would be jeopardized as well if, like in what they're pushing in New Jersey right now that Kim and I discussed last week, they're trying to wipe out all 1.7 million independent contractors, no matter what you do. So like me doing lasers, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to do the gigapps. Instead, I would have to pick one and become a W-2. And I think you guys all know this. If you didn't watch that video, go back and watch it, because every single senior advisor for every gig app was at that meeting and spoke. And Kim and I have it all on video. We shared the big speeches with you guys. And they all said they'll vacate the state. They all said this doesn't work. They said we will never do a W-2 model. The Truckers Association was there saying that almost 50% of New Jersey truckers are owner operated. They would leave the state, or they said that they would not move to the W-2 model. They would just simply do what California did during dynamics and just kind of find other work elsewhere and try and piecemeal some things together. Not a good solution. Again, literally, no joke. During that hearing, they had zero jobs that were going to open. They didn't say, we're going to remove your status. It's gone. You can't do this. You're screwed. But we're going to give you all these jobs. And here's how it laid out. In California, they at least tried to lie. We're going to take away this. And they took away the rights of 501c3 nonprofits that I know, businesses of 40 years plus, gone. I mean, demolished businesses, not just gig. This wasn't just a gig work thing. But what they're doing there is they're saying no exceptions. Everybody will fall. And unlike California, who lied and said, we're going to produce all these jobs, didn't produce any. We have had experts on the show, and we have challenged experts who are on the pro AB5 side. What the hell did you guys create? They came up with nothing. Nothing. And I'm not kidding. Like if you're thinking really it's zero, I don't know, maybe it's 5 or 15, but they killed 2.3 million careers and people's right to earn. And they did not make even 10,000 new jobs. So how in the hell did that help anything? Because all the people that lost their jobs were paying their taxes. So now what? Anyway, AB5 was a huge disaster. This is AB5 on steroids, and the rest of the country is watching it. So you guys make sure that you, I'll put it after the show, I'll put it down there, but make sure you hit that New Jersey campaign because you don't have to live there to fight for it. But again, I do want to give a shout out to Rand Paul, Tim Scott, and specifically Bill Cassidy, because I was working with his state legislative team, not his, but other legislators who I was waiting to hear back from them or for them to join our group. We had 2 aides in our group from Louisiana, and they kept assuring me, don't worry, this is being seen and heard. And all of a sudden, I mean, I heard about this last week. Well, on national news yesterday, they dropped it. That Bill Cassidy's spearheading this. Right on, Bill Cassidy. I don't even know you, man. But right on. I hope you're a good guy, because what you just did was huge for us. You're putting a definitive definition down on independent contractor